To be honest with you, I think Sony has proven themselves to be one of the huge bad guys in the video game industry lately, and that's come more evident, more so now than ever before, due to the fact that, there's all this underhanding dealings and things like that with the Activision deal. We all know about it. We all see it, right? Like, we've all seen it. We know that what's there. I actually think that gamers should possibly even boycott Sony in a way and PlayStation in a way until they decide to, be a little bit more consumer friendly and things like that. I just honestly do not look at them as being anything less than a terrible anti-consumer company at this point. So, again, I think this is crazy to think about this, but again, it's not really just me. It's everybody, it's everybody. So I do think that it really kind of comes down to how everybody else thinks. For me personally, I think that this is a very interesting bit of news. And I do hope that, people kind of hold Sony responsible for this. How petty do you have to be? Like, how absolutely petty do you have to be for some of this stuff? I don't know, but let's go ahead and get into it. Microsoft is apparently now free to close the Activision Blizzard deal with caveats, according to this. They could prevent them from doing so. So obviously a lot of people are like, oh, they can do it. Technically they could. Honestly, they could close right now. But that's with a big if. So Microsoft is free to close the deal as of May 22nd with some caveats that will likely preventing it from actually attempting to do so yet. The landmark date is the company's efforts to purchase Call of Duty maker arrived shortly after Microsoft Blizzard Activision won approval from China. Prior to Beijing's clearance, the almost $70 billion deal had already been given the nod by 37 other places. And while the proposed consolidation is being probed by Australia and New Zealand, its biggest remaining regulatory challenge is elsewhere. One of them originates from the home country, where the FTC sued to block the deal back in December of 2022, but will lose horribly in court. Another stateside attempt to block the acquisition, now here's what I'm talking about, materialized in the form of a so-called gamer lawsuit against Microsoft. Following its December filing, the complaint was dismissed by a first instance court back in March, leaving the plaintiffs with a 20-day opening to submit a revised lawsuit, which they did. The complaints also followed after a primary injunction to block the deal afterwards, but was denied on May 19th. And prior to that, Microsoft had agreed to not attempt to closing the deal before May 22nd in order to provide the court with enough time to rule on the injunction. This was the only remaining deferment commitment by the companies made. Since that deadline has passed, Microsoft is now able to initiate closing proceedings on the deal for the first time since announcing the acquisition in January of 2022. Not least because neither the gamer lawsuit nor the pending trial with the FTC resulted in a successful injunction motion against the deal. But although Microsoft could complete the Activision Blizzard acquisition without FTC approval, theoretically at least, the tech giant is still unlikely to do so. The main reason for that lies across the pond, where the British Competition and Markets Authority blocked the deal in late April. According to the CMA's primary findings, buying Activision Blizzard would potentially give Microsoft Xbox division too much power in the fledgling cloud gaming space because they have absolutely no earthly idea what the hell cloud gaming is or video games in the first place. Instead of committing resources towards indefinitely policing Microsoft's post-acquisition moves in the industry, the regulators decided to reject the deal as an easier way to protect competition. Although, again, how has that protected anything, considering Microsoft was signing 10-year deals with literally everybody, and now it would be free 10-year deals with any cloud gaming service. But the quote-unquote gamer lawsuit never made much damn sense to me, because guess what? Honestly, how in the world was that ever going to go anywhere anyway? You have a bunch of clowns that are like off of social media and stuff. Hey, we should get there and stop that there Microsoft from going ahead and buying that Activision because it wouldn't be fair to us. That would be anti-competitive nature that I watched on this TV show. Yeah, so again, honestly, it doesn't matter to me one iota. I knew that would be stopped, but it's just funny to me that people actually thought that had a chance to do anything, and now humorously was completely thrown out of the courthouse. And again, Microsoft could technically skirt around that, and they could also say, hey, we don't care what the CMA says. We're not going to offer Activision games through cloud in the UK, and I don't think they would actually hurt themselves too much if they did that. Fortunately, we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. But I think Microsoft, as a trillion-dollar company, is definitely going to hedge their bets and make sure that they have everything kind of under control before they do that. But for me, it's like Sony helped these gamers. They helped these idiots, with this lawsuit in the first place. They actually helped them. They gave them documents. They helped them out. They probably gave them some funding too, just to hold this thing up. And that to me doesn't fly at all. Microsoft is unlikely to attempt to actually close the deal while the CMA's decision stands, largely because the only foreseeable way or feasible way to actually complete the transaction without their approval would be for Microsoft's gaming division to pull out of the UK, or at the very least stop offering cloud gaming services in the country. The company has so far given no indication that it's willing to commit such a sacrifice in order to push the deal, since the CMA's findings are still preliminary and the window for Microsoft's appeal decision hasn't even opened yet. But they did say, hey, we'll see how this goes, in the future and things like that. And I think that's exactly what they need to do. You have to be prepared to maybe cut off a thumb to grow an extra couple pair of hands, to be honest with you, because I feel like being able to compete with the likes of Google, being able to compete with the likes of, Apple, I think that's going to be huge for them on the mobile side of things. I don't even think they really care too much, to be quite frank, about the cloud gaming sector, especially in that market where they only have 5,000 users or something right now anyway. So I doubt that, to be honest with you, I'm just being honest, I doubt that cloud gaming ever takes off, especially here in the States, because or anywhere, because they, first of all, and I'll use the internet structure as a thing, right? But it's like, not even the structure, no matter what kind of internet structure you have with how fast you have internet, it all comes down to where you have the relay stations, right? These cloud servers. So let's say you're 500 miles away from one. You could have the fastest internet ever, and it's still going to be like playing with a 500-mile controller from that place to your place. And the reaction times are going to be similar, and there's going to be issues and things like that. So, yeah, I definitely do think that, that's not going to be something that ever takes off. Completely different genre than, movies or television or music, which doesn't require one-to-one action. You can sit there, just watch it, enjoy it, or listen to it, or what have you. But even then, it's like, is there any doubt that a 4K Blu-ray looks a million times better and sounds a million times better than streaming a 4K movie through the internet, no matter how good your internet is? And the reason for that is quite simply, it's like compression, it's a lot of little things like that. So yeah, I definitely think that streaming video games was never going to work. I've tried it where, like, some people will go, I had 15 down, megabit connection down, and it was great. Like, here I am, most days I have 150 down, and it pixelates all over the place. It looks like a flipbook picture, and then it just breaks all apart. It's all digitized. It looks terrible. So yeah, like, it's never going to be for me. I would hope that if the CMA doesn't see reason, you got to just bypass them. I think they'll win against the FTC in court 100%, but you just got to bypass the CMA if they're not willing to play ball. So let me know what you guys think. Boycotting Sony, is that an option? Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.